This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
And it is Monday, November 11th. It is Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. If you see a veteran, if you know a veteran, thank them and congratulate them. Because let's face it, most veterans voted for Donald Trump, voted against Kamala Harris. Most veterans are as happy as I am today. It has been a glorious six days. The meltdowns continue on the left. The desperation continues. They have some plans for Kamala Harris. You thought she was done? No. They got plans for Kamala Harris, and they are as ludicrous as you would expect. We'll get to that. I would say the jubilation has only just begun. Yes, it was a wonderful week last week. It was a blowout. It was a rout. It was a mandate. They haven't called the House yet, but Donald Trump is going to hold the House. He won the Senate. He will get all of his appointments to the cabinet passed. Doesn't matter. He's got the Senate. No problem there. And so far, so good. As we mentioned the other day, he named his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, the first female chief of staff. A intelligent, independent woman will be by his side. It is getting unanimous praise, this choice. We don't know much about Susie Wiles. She keeps a low profile. She stays out of the spotlight, and that is good. We think that's a good pick. He made his second pick last night, and we know this is a good pick. This is not a good pick. This is a great pick. This is a spectacular pick. And if this is a sign of things to come, I think we're going to enjoy the next 70 days as Trump prepares to take the White House, take his rightful place in the Oval Office yet again. Last night, if you weren't paying attention, Donald Trump announced that Tom Homan will be his new border czar. Here's the announcement on Twitter from the 47th president. He says, "I am pleased to announce that former ICE director and stalwart of border control Tom Homan will be joining the Trump administration in charge of our nation's borders, including but not limited to the southern border, the northern border, all maritime and aviation security." I've known Tom for a long time, and there is nobody better at policing and controlling the borders. This pick is perfect. If you don't know Tom Homan, he is 62 years old. He's almost 63. He's kind of, frumpy looking. He's bald. He's not the most articulate guy in the world. He went to community college and then got his bachelor's degree at a public university. He started off as a lowly street cop in New York, worked his way up, spent 34 years in Border Patrol, and he has been front row center for the last 4 years, pointing out the failed Harris-Biden border policy and screaming from the rooftops that something has to change. Trump has made mistakes in the past, let's be honest, with his appointments, with his hires. Trump can be superficial, as we've mentioned before. He gets enamored of looks. He likes attractive women. We've seen that in the past. He likes men with catchy nicknames like Mad Dog Mattis. He got seduced by ribbons and medals from military men like John Kelly. He likes guys who are big and strong and imposing like Rex Tillerman. He made mistakes. He hired Omarosa. I do not think that is going to happen again. I think Trump has learned his lesson. I think he will do a much better job with personnel. And if this is any indication, I think he's going to pick people who are on the same page as he is, and no one represents that more than Tom Homan. He is a hardcore, hardline at the border. He is ready to start the largest mass deportation operation in American history, and he will not be deterred when the media and the Democrats start weeping and crying about family separation. He has no problem separating criminals from their children. That's what law enforcement does every day. When they arrest somebody for a crime in this country, they don't get to bring their children to jail. They don't get to bring their kids to prison when they get sentenced to prison. If you commit a crime, you risk being separated from your children. It's what they did under Obama. It's what they did under Biden. It's what they will continue to do under Trump 2.0. And the best part of Homan is he doesn't play the game. He is not going to go before Congress, before the Senate, before the House and play along. He's not going to sit with mainstream media outlets and just kind of play the game. He's not concerned. He's not interested in winning them over. That's what Trump needs. That should be the number one requisite for a Trump hire, a Trump appointment. Somebody who doesn't give a damn what the mainstream media says about him. Somebody who does not want to get along with Democrats. Somebody who understands that the top priority for the Trump administration, number one on the list, is ending the invasion, building the wall, stopping people from pouring across the border. I was watching the coverage of Homan late last night, and I'm thinking, what would have happened if Harris and Biden didn't open the border? Would she have won? If we didn't have 20 million illegal aliens, if Laken Riley and Rachel Marin and Jocelyn Nungri were alive today, would Harris have won? They made the conscious decision, the strategic decision to open the border, sacrifice the lives of Americans, allow fentanyl to pour into this country in hopes that they would get enough new Democrats to vote for them and keep them in power. Now, that's still an open question. Will it matter in 4 years, in 2 years? Will there be enough illegal aliens who get a pathway to citizenship and get the right to vote and vote Democrats? It didn't work this time, thank God. They nominated, they appointed, they anointed the worst candidate for president we have ever seen. And Trump won, and he won decisively. But the biggest factor in Tuesday night's bloodbath was Kamala Harris, was the Democrats anointing, selecting the worst candidate we've ever seen. Thank God for that. Thank you, Joe Biden, for attempting to run again in your current state of dementia. Thank you, Barack Obama, for forcing Biden out and forcing Kamala Harris in. It is all on them. They're playing the blame game now. They can look in the mirror. They chose this path, and it blew up in their faces, and it has just been a wonderful thing to watch. But the meltdown continues, and it continues because Trump is not slowing down. He is not concerned anymore with what they have to say. He does not care what the mainstream media is going to say about Tom Homan. They will scream and kick, and they will cry about family separation and the cruelty of making hardworking immigrants leave the country. Governors like Maura Healey in Massachusetts and Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker are vowing to go to war with the Trump administration, and I like that. I'm all for it. Let's go. Let's bring it on. They're going to protect you, whether you like it or not. Massachusetts and California and Illinois. Yes, they're going to deport the worst of the worst. They're going to start with the criminals. That's the easy answer. How does this work? We start with the criminals. There are 13,000 murderers, 16,000 rapists, 425,000 convicted criminals in this country illegally. We begin there. There are over 1 million illegal aliens for whom they've already started the deportation process. They're gone. Pack your stuff, guys. You are gone. And this is the man who's going to implement it all. He's probably up early today, beginning the process. Now, they will be, for the next 70 days, doing their best to undermine Trump and Homan. They will be doing their best to help illegal aliens on their path to citizenship. The border will remain open for 70 days. But then this guy goes to work. Here he is a couple weeks ago on 60 Minutes. By the way, 60 Minutes did the most shameless piece on illegal immigration, talking about the poor children, talking about the cost of deporting people. How about the cost of not deporting them? As we've been covering for 3.5 years, it is cost taxpayers billions, something close to 200 billion. How about the cost to New York City, where they got hotel rooms and phones and money and debit cards and food and Uber rides? How about the cost to Massachusetts, which is expected to exceed $1 billion to house and feed illegal immigrants? 60 Minutes, they want you to know it's not going to be cheap to kick these people out. Well, it's a hell of a lot more expensive to keep them here, as Tom Homan explains. I mean, this is an interview that most people who want to get this position, who want to be in the Trump administration, would have said, no, I'm not sitting down with 60 Minutes. I know what they're up to. I know what they're going to do. He said he talked to them for, I think it was 2 hours, and they spliced and diced it and put on 2 minutes, but it was a wonderful 2 minutes. Here's Tom Homan just a couple of weeks ago on with 60 Minutes. Go ahead.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is it worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Boom. That's the answer. That is the way right there. That is the way. Yes, families can be deported together. That's the solution. If you come here with your family, do not expect the children they get to stay. But what about ripping families apart? Well, don't break the law. Every criminal gets separated from his family, and the media is just not going to get ready. Get ready for 4 years of these teary-eyed, emotional, maudlin reports of families being separated, families who came here illegally, who were told not to come. If you come, you risk family separation. That's just one Tom Homan mic drop moment. If you're just tuning in, there are dozens. The guy is a star, and he's wonderfully transparent. You don't get the sense that he's a politician at all. He's not playing the game at all. He's not concerned with, how's this going to sound? What will the New York Times say about me? What will the Democrats think of me? Here's just one appearance before the House where he just goes off on a congressman who's grilling him for, the cruelty of the Trump policy. He was Trump's border czar. He never got Senate confirmation. He was acting ICE director because they never put him before the Senate, a Democrat Senate. They could do that now, but they don't have to. He can be border czar. Hell, all presidents have aides and people in their administration who don't have to go through Senate confirmation. I hope he does, just to hear Democrats go at him. Liz Warren, and maybe he'll go before the House soon, and he'll go before AOC and Rashida Tlaib, because he just eats these people alive. Here he is before the House explaining, his role in securing the border. Go ahead.
And you're the member.
We agree on that.
Fix it.
We agree.
Mr.
Homan, you have said that most immigrants are, quote, not criminals other than the criminal act that they do when they enter the country illegally. That is why I think we ought to revisit decriminalizing desperation, striking sections 1325 and 1326 of Title VIII of the U.S. Code, the statutes that the administration has leveraged to separate thousands of children from their families. Mr. Homan, do you understand that the consequences of separation of many children will be lifelong trauma and carried across generations? Have we not learned from the internment of Japanese Americans? Mr. Homan, I'm a father. Do you have children? How can you possibly allow this to happen under your watch? Do you not care? Is it because these children don't look like children that are around you? I don't get it. Have you ever held a deceased child in your arms?
First of all, your comments are disgusting. I've served my
I find your
I've served my
comments
country. I've
disgusting
served
as
my
well,
country
sir.
for 34 years.
I find your
This
comments
is out of
disgusting
control.
as well.
I've served my country for 34 years. And yes, I held a 5-year-old boy in my arms in back of that tractor trailer. I knelt down beside him and said a prayer for him because I knew what his last 30 minutes of his life were like. And I had a 5-year-old son at the time. What I've been trying to do my 34 years serving my nation is to save lives. So for you to sit there and insult my integrity and my love for my country and for children, that's why this whole thing needs to be fixed. And you're the member of
We
Congress.
agree on that.
Fix it.
We agree on
You
that,
have
but I
failed it. You have-
disagree. But I also disagree with your characterization of immigrants as prone to criminality.
People for 3 decades on this.
Gentleman's time has expired.
No one in this room has seen what I've seen in my 34-year career.
Very well.
No one has experienced what I've experienced. I've saw many dead bodies coming across this border. And you want to talk about the memo? This memo is one option to stop death. Not just about enforcing the law, stop death. If you want to legalize illegal immigration, good luck with that, because it's going to get a hell of a lot worse on that border. If you say, well, okay, from now on, there will be no consequence, no deterrence. It's not illegal to come to this country illegally. More families will come. 31% women will be raped. More children would die. We're a nation of laws. If you don't like it, sir, change it. You're the legislator. I'm the executive branch, and I've served my country honorably for 34 years. And I will not sit here and have anybody say that I don't care about children because you're not the same color as my children.
Thank you very much.
Oh God, this guy's going to be great. You know what? You know what's great about it? It's over. It's over. The charade is over. What we've seen for 3.5 years, almost 4 years, what we saw since the day Joe Biden and Kamala Harris took office and repealed Trump's executive orders and opened the border. It was a cynical, sinister ploy to import more Democrats. We know that now. We know they don't care about children. They don't care about people. They certainly don't care about the hundreds of thousands of Americans who've died from fentanyl overdoses. They don't care about Laken Riley and Rachel Marin and Jocelyn Nungaray and the 7-year-old girl on Nantucket who was raped repeatedly by an illegal alien and hospitalized. They don't care. That congressman, he doesn't give a damn about children. He wants votes. It's over. It's over now. The people have spoken. They have made it quite clear. They don't want this to continue. They want the border closed. They want Tom Homan to do his job, and he is going to do it beginning January 20th. You got 70 days left. Pack your stuff. You're going home. That's the message. That's why Trump was elected in a landslide. That's why Tom Homan is your new border czar, and he is just perfect. God bless that man. These people, all of them, are just disgusting. Absolutely. Let's do one more. Get the AOC clip. I can't get enough of this guy. He is just perfect. And again, Trump he's going all in, man. He's going to go all in. This is what you're going to get. Hardliners who drive people like AOC insane. This is, I mean, I knew it was going to be good. This is going to be better. This is going to be great. Here is Tom Homan being grilled by the dumbest member of Congress, but the biggest star in the Democrat Party, AOC. Go ahead.
Through this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommend a zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Okay. A battle of wits with an unarmed congresswoman. That's what a Homan was in for right there. Oh, I hope he gets called before the House again. I hope he gets called before the Senate many, many times to testify. He's so good at this. He's just, you know what? I had to look it up. I had to make sure I didn't go to high school with him. He's from New York, so I didn't. But he looks and sounds like every guy I went to high school with. He looks like just a guy. There's nothing, there's no box checking here. He's an old, bald, chubby white guy. I don't think that qualifies as a diversity hire. DEI is dead. We're hiring the best. We're hiring people who want to implement the Trump policies, and this guy is perfect. All right, we got to get that was, and it's just going to continue the meltdown. We got some of the best meltdowns. I know people have been enjoying these for the last 6 days. It just gets better and better every day. And the best part, the Democrats are eating their own. They're coming after Seth Moulton, Massachusetts congressman now, for saying he doesn't want his girls, his daughters, to get their asses kicked by boys. That's not allowed in the Democrat Party. Even after they got their asses kicked on Tuesday, they're doubling down on utter insanity. We'll get to that. We got Joe Biden back on the beach. Trump is meeting with Joe Biden on Wednesday, which means he'll have to come back from the beach. But man, that meeting is going to be interesting. And Bill Burr, the once great Bill Burr, bombs on SNL. We'll get to that and more. But first,
excuse me.
Are your loved ones aging? Has walking become difficult for your parents, your grandparents? It's tough. I've been there. I know lots of you have been there too. Stairs can often be a challenge for them. It's also a significant risk of falling. Well, Lifeway Mobility, one of the largest providers of accessibility solutions, offers stair lifts, wheelchair ramps, home elevators, transfer aids, and bath safety solutions to improve safety, independence, and quality of life at home. Most of their solutions are made in the USA, and they provide professional installation and service. Gain peace of mind and help loved ones stay safe at home. Schedule a free consultation when you call Lifeway Mobility at 888-780-7923. They have locations across the U.S. with showrooms for you to see and test their products. They're also rated the best stair lift company by the National Council on Aging and by U.S. News, and they have over 6,000 five-star reviews. Call 888-780-7923 or visit lifewaymobility.com for your free consultation. That's 888-780-7923. I think the finger pointing, the blaming is off the charts now. Democrats are blaming everybody and anybody, and it's a blast to watch. But this is just this will give you a sense of just how utterly they lack in self-awareness, how they're not really looking at the real problem. Yes, it was a mistake to install Kamala Harris, the worst candidate we've ever seen. She was terrible. She went through $1 billion. We'll get to that. We have some of the auditing of the Harris campaign, which is hilarious. But they're doubling down on the insanity which cost them the election. And before we get to Seth Moulton, I'm looking at a Bill Moulton from Fox News, the guy who's at the border all the time, just did an amazing job of covering the border. He put out a thread yesterday, and I think you should be proud, Massachusetts, because you, according to Bill Moulton, are the worst. You are the worst for protecting your citizens. You are the best for protecting illegal alien rapists. You are one of the big reasons we now have President-elect Donald Trump and border czar Tom Homan. Yes, you're all blue. You voted to continue as a sanctuary state. You voted for Kamala Harris overwhelmingly. You want illegal alien rapists in your neighborhoods. You want that. But Trump's not going to allow it. Tom Homan's not going to allow it. Good luck with the governor protecting the illegal alien rapist. She's going to try, but she doesn't have the power. Here's from Bill Malugin yesterday. He says, out of all the stories I've covered with ICE, Massachusetts is the most disturbing. Weekly arrests of child rapists by ICE Boston office, including 4 in a single morning when we embedded with them, and several child rapists in a single operation on Nantucket, almost always released from local custody with ICE detainers being ignored, even on aggravated child rape charges. ICE has to expend additional resources and introduce more risk to its officers to make these arrests in the field of being handed over at jail because sanctuary state Massachusetts won't cooperate with ICE even under the Biden administration, and they end up helping shield some of the worst of the worst. And he has a thread on all these guys on Nantucket and other places, rapists, just gang members who have been protected, shielded by the state of Massachusetts. So what did the voters do? They went out and voted for more of this. It's going to happen. Get ready. There's going to be more illegal alien rapists, criminals, gang members in Massachusetts. They're going to come. They're going to flock to Massachusetts because the governor is on record saying she will protect her residents, not her citizens, her residents, which include people, and the list is long, which include Elmer Sola, Salvatoran illegal alien, who was arrested on 3 counts of aggravated child rape. The victim was a Nantucket child. Brian Daniel Aldana Aravola, another Salvatoran illegal, charged in July with raping a Nantucket child. Gianno Bellafronte, Brazilian illegal, charged with sexually assaulting a Nantucket resident. One after another in one state. And what do the voters do? They vote for more of this. That's what they want. And it's going to continue. The madness will continue until you stop voting for these people who protect illegal alien rapists. That's where we are. Is anyone demanding Maura Healey resign, or Liz Warren, or Ed Markey, who support, or Ayanna Pressley, who support this insanity? No, they won overwhelmingly. Hell, Ayanna Pressley was unopposed. Liz Warren won by 20 points, even though she supports the policies that protect the illegal alien rapists. That's how far gone, that's how lost the state of Massachusetts is. Oh, but one congressman is under fire. One Democrat congressman who votes with the Democrats almost every time, almost 100% of the time, who voted to protect illegal alien sexual criminals, sexual predators. He voted with all the rest of the Congress people. I believe there was 158 of them voted against deporting illegal alien criminals. His name is Seth Moulton. He's a congressman. He won again. I think he was unopposed. Yes, he was unopposed, but he is under fire. You want to guess what? Why did he say, no, we should kick these criminals out? No. He's here to protect them. Seth Moulton said to the New York Times, and I quote, after the election, they were doing the autopsy. What went wrong? Why did people reject Democrats? Which ads were most effective? And you know which one was most effective? The they, them versus you ad that Trump ran, pointing out that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz supported boys and girls sports. It was a very effective ad. It's an 80-20 issue. Almost everybody in America thinks it's insane for boys to play girls sports, especially when girls are getting hurt. They're losing awards and wins and trophies, but they're also getting hurt. So of course, any sane person is against boys and girls sports, but the Democrats are doubling down. They are fighting hard, not to kick illegal alien criminals out of your community, to make sure boys can play girls sports. So Seth Moulton, talking to the New York Times, says, quote, I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on the playing field by a male or a formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. So he said that. He went there. And what happened? They came after Seth Moulton. Yes, they don't want him to apologize, which he probably will. They want him to quit. They want him out. They want him out. Here's a local Salem, in his hometown, Salem city councilman, Kyle Davis. Quote, "I'm not looking for an apology from Seth Moulton. I'm looking for a resignation. They want him to quit his office because he is protecting his own daughters." Keep it up, Democrats. You're doing great. You are doing great. This is madness. I hope they stick with this. I hope they double down. I hope they force him to apologize, and I think they will. Here's the Boston Globe headline to their article. Seth Moulton scapegoats trans athletes with his baseless views. Democrats didn't lose the election because of trans kids, says the Globe. We lost the election because too many voters feel left behind. That's one reason. You know what's another reason? Because you've lost your minds, because you want boys and girls sports, boys and girls locker rooms, because you want men in female prisons. That's why most of America thinks you're not wrong on this. You're absolutely insane. And they show no signs of letting up, no signs of slowing down, which is a good sign going forward. This is a losing issue for them. The country has woken up. I would say 5 years ago, like when I was fired for saying it is insane to transition, to change the sex of a 4-year-old child, that times were different. People are paying attention. They woke up. Leah Thomas woke them up, and they're standing up and they're saying no more of this. Can we get this CNN clip? This is where we are right now. You can't debate a Democrat on this issue without them losing their mind, because you're not allowed to say boys in girls sports aren't boys, because they chose a different name. Maybe they grew their hair out. They're still kicking ass. As we reported 2 weeks ago, there's been more than 900 women who've lost trophies, medals, records to boys in sports, in track, in volleyball, in swimming. It is not the biggest problem we face, but it sure is a look into the twisted minds of Democrats who want to fight to protect the right of boys to beat up girls in boxing, in swimming, in track. Here's a conservative on the panel at CNN attempting to point out that this was a big problem for Democrats in the election. Go ahead.
A lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
You can allow me to finish my explanation.
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second, because look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Chair Michael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
Okay, so let me rephrase this, since I'm being targeted here.
I don't. No, it's okay. Clear, you are not being.
But
targeted.
I am. But it's okay.
I'm specifically saying that I know that you are not intending to be transphobic.
He should know that I'm not. But he wants to sit here and
calling you transphobic. I'm saying you're using a phrase that you know.
So
the way regular people interpret it,
that's not regular people. That's not regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys. This whole thing about trans girls is a canard. We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of the population.
That may be the
and
case,
we're using
but my point in terms of its effectiveness.
Just get to your point.
My point in terms of its effectiveness. Regular people with children look at these things and they say, you know what? This is a bit too far. I do not agree with this. I don't like this. I think Democrats are going way too much to the left on social issues. They're uncomfortable with it. A lot of people believe that. A lot of families believe that. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again, because they saw the metrics suggested
and
that they were
lying
working.
in those ads over and over again and using rhetoric like you just used, saying this is boys playing girls sports. First of all, we're talking about 5 people in the entire country.
You would prefer?
We're talking about trans girls being allowed to play with the people who are in their gender. And if you don't believe, you don't have to listen to me, listen to the American Medical Association, the American Psychological.
No. Those days are over. People are making up their own minds. You stick to your guns there, Rabbi. That's a rabbi. You stick to your guns. You continue to say, no, they're not boys. Yes, they're boys. They're boys and girls sports, and people are dead set against it. God, I hope this remains an issue. I hope they double down. I hope they continue to lose their minds. That is what's happening here. That is the reaction you're getting from the left. Not that we've gone too far. Not that we're way outside the mainstream on this issue. They're doubling down. They want Seth Moulton to quit. They want a man, an analyst on CNN, to not refer to boys as boys. You know what they're against? Truth. A boy who changed his name or grew his hair out or decided he was a girl is still a boy. And when they play sports, they have an advantage. We all know that. They have a physical advantage. Everyone knows, but they don't care. They are going to deny reality, deny objective, physical, biological reality. That's the way to do it, guys. Keep going. Double down. Keep going with your absolutely extreme, insane view of the world. Let's get to Katie Porter. This is a congresswoman who was almost a senator. She battled Adam Schiff for the nomination in California in the primary, which is essentially the general election. It didn't really matter that Steve Garvey was the Republican. California is just like Massachusetts. It's outside the mainstream. They nominate, they elect Democrats, even if they're absolute scum like Adam Schiff, a just pathological liar. He's now a senator. That is so disappointing. But she battled him in the primary. She lost, but she's a congresswoman, a sitting congresswoman, and she's obviously upset at the results of the election. And her 12-year-old girl, her 12-year-old daughter, is upset too. Listen to why her 12-year-old child in California is so upset by Trump's return to the White House. Go ahead.
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion? This is from a 12-year-old, my 12-year-old daughter. And so it was really a reminder of how scary this time is for people, and how important it is for Democrats to have strategies, both at the state level and the federal level, to make sure that we can continue to protect people's rights.
What a just a repulsive human being. What a repulsive woman. You're not just a terrible congresswoman. You're not just a terrible person. You are a horrible mother. You imagine raising your daughter who is 12 to think that way? Yes, she's upset. She's crying about the election because what if I get raped and I can't get an abortion? First of all, I mean, this is just so insane on so many levels. First of all, she's in California. You can get an abortion for any reason at any time. Secondly, you're 12 and you're raped. Yes, you can get an abortion. Thirdly, who is putting that thought in her head? 12-year-olds aren't supposed to think like that. It's like our congresswoman here in Massachusetts, Catherine Clark, who said her daughter has nightmares about climate change. What? I think the kid was the same age, like 13 or 12. Oh, yeah, my daughter wakes up with Well, you're a bad mother. If you've convinced your daughter or son, I can't remember. I know she has a transgender child too. So that they wake up at night worried about climate change. You have failed as a parent. If your daughter is in tears after leaving water polo practice, is that not in a microcosm right there? The best explanation for just how out of touch these are. This is a California liberal picking up her daughter at water polo practice and she's in tears because she might get raped and Trump won't let her have an abortion. And lastly, when did Trump ever say a 12-year-old couldn't get an abortion? Obviously, a 12-year-old by definition is a victim of rape. And of course, she could get an abortion anywhere, especially in California. I mean, this girl should be sitting there cranking up the Taylor Swift and dancing in the car and saying, who gives a damn who won the election? I'm 12. I'm playing water polo. I'm a kid. Man, that is sick. And California elected that woman. She must have just made it on her looks. What do you think? You think she just won the election on her?
Most definitely. Better than Adam Schiff. He's ugly as hell.
Oh, Adam Schiff is a friggin' senator. But he's a backbencher. He's in the minority. He's irrelevant, but he's a senator. That is so discouraging. All right, we got to get to so much more. We got to get to Bill Burr. I think we might disagree on this one, Ironhead. What a flop by Bill Burr. And we have some suggestions from Democrats on what to do with Kamala Harris now that she has been rejected once again by the voters. Where will this loser end up now? She's only 60. She's a kid in the Democrat Party. We'll see where she ends up now. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
All right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 Payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. The economy is in trouble with inflation, high interest rates, and out-of-control debt. And don't think your retirement funds are safe from the radical left. Now is the time to call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They'll show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your wealth portfolio with physical gold and silver. With the finest products, amazing customer service, and a buyback commitment, American Hartford Gold has a 5-star rating from thousands of reviews and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. American Hartford Gold supports content like this that is committed to bringing you the truth. Tell them I sent you, and they'll give you up to $15,000 of free silver on your first order. So call them now. Click the link in the description or call 866-607-4299. That's 866-607-4299 or text Gerry, Gerry, to 65532. Again, that's 866-607-4299 or text Gerry to 65532. We got to move. I got so much to get to. We didn't get to this yet. Quickly, from the Daily Wire over the weekend, a federal disaster relief official ordered workers to bypass the homes of Donald Trump's supporters as they surveyed damage caused by Hurricane Moulton in Florida. A FEMA supervisor told workers in a message to, quote, avoid homes advertising Trump as they canvassed Lake Placid, Florida, to identify residents who could qualify for federal aid. This was in a memo. She wrote this down. The supervisor, Marnie Washington, relayed this message both verbally and in a group chat used by the relief team. The government employees told the Daily Wire that at least 20 homes, 20, with Trump signs or flags were skipped from the end of October into November due to their guidance. That is just amazing. So Marnie Washington has been fired. Now that is good, obviously. That's not enough. This person has to be arrested. I mean, this is just evil. This isn't wrong. This is criminal. Here's your headline, by the way. And file this one under Donald Trump was right again. If you recall, when the hurricanes ripped through Florida and North Carolina, Donald Trump questioned the FEMA response. He was on the ground in North Carolina questioning FEMA, relaying the sentiments he heard from people who were affected, whose lives, whose houses were destroyed, who were unhappy with the FEMA response. But of course, the mainstream media jumped in a high gear and said, falsely smearing these brave federal employees. Here's your headline from the New York Times. Trump false claims about the federal response to Hurricane Helene. The former president falsely accused the Biden administration of spending disaster funds on migrants and neglecting areas that had voted Republican. Trump, right again. This is incredible. Can you imagine a federal employee who's there to help people, whose job it is to respond to a hurricane and help people, and saying, "Ooh, they got a Trump sign. It's Florida. They're everywhere. Skip them." And when I first heard this, I thought probably one house, two houses, at least 20 houses were bypassed because they had Trump signs. This ends on January 20th, but they can't wait. They have to not just fire her, fire anybody who did this, anyone who was conspiring with her to ignore these Trump people in a response to a hurricane. This is the kind of rot we have in the federal government. This is Elon Musk's job, to find all these Marnie Washingtons and fire their ass and arrest them if we can make a criminal case against them. This is just disgusting. That's your federal government at work right there. Yes, Trump was right again. All right. Trump is just on a roll. Everything is churning up Trump. All right, do I have time to the future? I know it's not the most pressing issue, but the future of Kamala Harris. What is it? There is some insane proposals out there. One wants her to be on the Supreme Court. One Democrat says Sonia Sotomayor should step down and replace her with Kamala Harris. Yes. What do you do with the dumbest senator, the dumbest VP, the dumbest presidential candidate we've ever seen? Let's put her on the Supreme Court. I support this just to hear the Senate confirmation hearings, just to watch Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley go at her, but that's never going to happen. Here's another idea from a high-ranking Harris advisor. You've seen this guy, Jamal Simmons. He's been out there on TV supporting Harris for months now. Here he is on CNN. He's got an idea of what could happen here. He wants all those hats and shirts that say 47, Trump 47. He wants to make those worthless. He wants Kamala Harris to be your 47th president. Watch this.
That is my question. I'll start with you.
Joe Biden's been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
Whoa.
It would absolve her from being able to from having to oversee the January 6th transition, right, of her own defeat. And it would make sure that it would dominate the news at a point where Democrats have to learn drama and transparency and doing things that the public want to see. Is the time. This is the moment for us to change the entire perspective of how Democrats
Okay, this has now jumped from an internet meme to a Sunday morning show.
Jamal's out here right now.
Congratulations.
Season of House of Cards.
I thought you were going to say, what about the Supreme Court? That's also out there.
Well, the Supreme Court might happen. I don't know if it will, but I think this is something that's...
He wants Scott Jennings. He's so great. He is sitting there trying to hold back his laughter. He was ready to laugh in this fool's face, which is the proper response. Biden should step down and let her be president for a couple of months. For what? Is that what you want? You want the first female president to be this Make-A-Wish kid?
Yeah, that's what he said too. He said the public wants to see it, and judging by the election, I don't think so.
Yeah. What evidence? Yes. Massachusetts and Oregon and Washington and California want to see it. Let's make her president. You know what? I'm for this. Let's do this. Even though it'll ruin those 47 shirts, let's do this. It would be great comic relief to see her as president. I'm sorry, guy. What's his name? Jamal. I'm sorry, Jamal. Your candidate is a loser. She is on the ash heap of history. She will never amount to anything. They got a good look at her. They got to know her, and they rejected her. And thank God for that. The idea that she was ever capable, fit to serve as commander-in-chief is laughable at this point. She is done. Quick update on the failed Kamala Harris campaign. This made me laugh out loud. As we know, she spent $1 billion in 107 days and failed spectacularly, just lit that money on fire. Some of my favorite expenses, maybe my favorite, they spent $100,000 to build a studio for Call Her Daddy, the podcast. Remember, she went on that. It was a big deal. She went on the Call Her Daddy podcast. The campaign spent $100,000 for a studio for Call Her Daddy to improve the studio, put up a new sign and lights and everything. How'd that work out? But that was nothing, $100,000. You're wondering, how does a campaign burn through $1 billion? $10 million to Beyonce. $10 million. You know how Joy Reid said the definition of a flawless campaign? She said the campaign was flawless because she got Queen Latifah and Beyonce and Taylor Swift to endorse her. That's the definition, according to a Democrat analyst. That's the definition of a flawless campaign, that you got a bunch of celebrities to endorse you. Well, you know how she did it? She paid them, and she paid them a lot. Beyonce didn't even sing for her $10 million. $5 million to Megan Thee Stallion, $3 million to Lizzo, $1.8 million to Eminem, who again didn't perform. He just went up, mumbled, introduced Obama, and walked away. $1.8 million. If you donated to Kamala Harris, that's where your money went. And my favorite, $1 million to Oprah. You know that town hall, that thing that was all set up and rigged and teleprompters and scripted questions, and Oprah talked about joy. They paid her $1 million. She's a billionaire, and she didn't endorse the candidate for nothing. They had to pay her. Every single thing about the Harris campaign was fake, phony, contrived, including the celebrity endorsements. God, that is just hilarious. All right, we got time to get to Bill Burr. Bill Burr was the first host of Saturday Night Live after the election. I thought at the time, I said, good choice. He's a troublemaker. He'll stir it up. I know he's not a Trump supporter. I know his wife hates Trump. Bill Burr did a monologue. It was awful. I was hoping that we'd be talking about, controversial things he said, things, some lines, some offensive things he said. That was your job, Bill Burr. I am so disappointed in this man. He is pathetic. Here's the problem. And some people liked it and said, oh, this was funny or that was funny. He was scared. You could feel it. It was like Kamala Harris doing an interview. He was thinking, what am I supposed to say here? What should I say? He wasn't being Bill Burr. He was afraid. He was afraid to offend. He was afraid. He was worried about both sides. He tried to play the middle. There was nothing funny. He actually started talking about people taking their shoes off on planes, which is like the lamest line of jokes you could come up with. It was just weak. The whole thing was weak, and the show was weak. They did a cold open where they pretended to be supporters of Trump, and there wasn't a single laugh.
That was truly the takeaway of how bad that show was.
It's a funny idea. Let's all pretend we really support Trump because, he's coming after his enemies. But Bill Burr was awful. Do we have any Burr? You tell me the funny part. Let's play some Bill Burr.
All right, let's get to what you all want to talk about. All right.
Because the first part flopped.
This guy. 0-2. All right, but you learn more from your losses than your wins. So let's get into the game tape. All right, ladies, enough with the pantsuit. Okay, it's not working. Stop trying to have respect for yourselves. You don't win the office like on policy, you got to whore it up a little. I'm not saying go full Hooters, but find the happy medium between Applebee's and your dad didn't stick around. All right, you all know how to get a free drink. Okay, and I know a lot of ugly women, feminists, don't want to hear this message. But just tease them a little bit.
That was a funny line.
Make a farmer feel like he's got a shot. Swing a state over a little bit. I'll be honest with you. I am so psyched that this stupid election is finally over. Took forever. Like, yeah. Everybody knew who they were voting for 4 years ago. And then they just drag you through a year and a half of this stuff. Like, who was sitting there watching the debate, like, still not decided? Two of the most polar opposite people ever. It's like, all right, let's see. What does the orange bigot have to say? How about the real estate agent that speaks through her nose? Oh, there's a point.
What does that even mean? Oh, the real estate agent and whore it up. What is he talking about?
He's saying like appeal to guys, not
Kamala Harris was supposed to dress like a Hooters waitress. I mean, it was so weak. I got an idea, Bill Burr. How about you talk about boys and girls sports? How about you talk about that? Trans surgeries for prisoners. There was no material.
That doesn't really have the funny.
His big shot at Kamala Harris is she's a real estate agent who speaks through her nose. What the hell does that even mean? And by the way, he was begging for laughs. There was no laughs. There was fake laughs. He got no laughs. Again, he started off talking about flying with the guy who took off his shoes. I'm saying, you're not doing that, Bill Burr, you coward. That's what this was. This was Bill Burr playing scared, and it was so weak and so pathetic. All right, I had so much more to get to, but can we finish with the woman who has an idea? Let's finish with the woman who has an idea. You've probably seen plenty of these reactions to the election from crazy liberals. This is a great compilation of the top 6 reactions to the election from just insane liberals screaming in their cars. This stuff is great. I've been enjoying it for 6 days. I'm going to continue to enjoy it. But here's one, and by the way, they all look the same. They literally all look the same. Here's one big Harris supporter who has an idea, how to show your support for Kamala, the fact that you're unhappy with Trump, and maybe everybody out there who's really upset, you're not really going to leave the country. You're not going to do anything meaningful. She has an idea what you can do to express your displeasure with the outcome of the election. And I'm all for it. I support this this homely woman and her plan. Go ahead.
Easiest and most effective form of protest you have right now that you can start immediately? Put a mask back on. Stop letting them observe your face and have the side benefit of better health and protecting the rest of us in the world. Put a mask back on. Fuck this government.
Put a mask back on. She says that she's trying to get something out of her teeth. God, this woman was just nauseating watching her. Put a mask back on. I hope this catches on. Not only would it be a good thing if she covered her face, but it'd be great to identify all the losers, just to know they were out there. That's a good idea. Everybody out there who's disappointed that Kamala Harris will not be taking the oath of office and taking over the press. Let's put a mask back on. Cover your whole face. Good idea. Good plan, lady. All right. And maybe Katie Porter can do that too. And Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid and Jake Tapper. Cover your faces so we can identify you, but and laugh in your face. And lady, get some floss. Get a toothpick, please. Please. All right, we will leave it there on this wonderful Monday, on this Veterans Day. Thank you to the veterans. We appreciate it. Happy Veterans Day to everybody out there. Thank a veteran and congratulate them, because most veterans, let's be honest, they're as happy as I am. They won, we won, and we're just going to keep on winning. We're not sick of winning. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.